We're at 70? Wow! 70 miles an hour. Woo! What's going on, ladies and gentlemen? Welcome back to Auto Auction Rebuilds, where today we're finally going to put in a little bit of work on the 59 Dodge Coronet. And I've got some, well, it's good news, bad news. We are going to attempt in this video to, number one, change the oil. I don't know how long that oil's been in there, but I've got some motor flush we're going to put in it. I also got some Marvel Mystery we're going to put in it. I think we may have a valve or two sticking. Maybe we can free it up with some motor flush and some Marvel Mystery oil. Hopefully get some of the rings freed up. I think we may have some sticking rings as well. Once she warms up, sitting at idle, she loves to smoke. Honestly, the way this car runs, it reminds you of Christine when Arnie first picked it up at that guy's house. When he first walked up to the house and started up, this car, man, it's literally Christine, the way it runs, the way it smokes, the way it sounds.
Careful, Dennis. It's a piece of shit, Arnie. Forget it, Arnie. This baby's got 93,000 miles on it. Probably 193. I don't care. I don't want him to start. She'll start. You need these. Her name's Christine. I like that.
With that said, it's got a dead miss. I've already done a full tune-up on it. Didn't make any difference. Carburetor not adjusted, timing not adjusted, points not adjusted properly. So maybe we can set the points on the new distributor before we install it. Like I said, brand new distributor, guys. So it was not easy to find, and the distributor for this car cost me $200. So we're going to try to change the oil, free things up a little bit. Hopefully we can get that new distributor installed, and I'd like to try to take it on a test drive. Now, changing the oil and everything is great, but at the end of the day, I have pretty much resigned to getting rid of the 326. Now, I know that's going to piss a lot of people off. There's going to be a lot of you out there that's going to be really, really angry because you want me to keep this car original. Believe me when I tell you, I've given this a ton of thought, a ton of consideration, and the further down the rabbit hole I go into this 326 engine, which is basically an A-Series 318 bored 40 over, the more it just reaffirms my decision to stick with a more modern 318 build. Now, like I said, I know a lot of you are going to be pissed off about this decision. Whoa. I understand a lot of you want to see this car kept original, but here's my logic, guys. Number one, this car is never going to be worth any real amount of money. Okay, let's just be honest with each other here. It's a 59 four-door Dodge Coronet. Now, while I love the car, and I love that it's a four-door, I think it's beautiful, I think it's aggressive, it's mean, it's got futuristic styling from back in the day when they made cars look like rocket ships. This car will never be worth a fortune. This is never going to be a car that you'll see at Barrett-Jackson bringing in $100,000, okay? It's not a desirable car by most car enthusiasts and most car collectors. Therefore, there's no reason to keep paying out ridiculous amounts of money for parts to this engine because it is so hard to find A-Series parts to these poly V8s. All right, 59, this is an old, outdated motor. And while I think it's great that it runs, at the end of the day, this is not a motor that you're going to keep in this car and be able to keep this car serviceable and on the road long term. And that is what brings me to my decision today, which is to get rid of the 326. And no, I have no intention of keeping the 326 around in case somebody wants it. I have been trying, look, back in 59, believe it or not, the Dodge Coronet came with a dual quad setup. It did. It came with two 4-barrel carburetors. They came that way. They also came with a single 4-barrel carburetor. They also came with the 2-barrel carburetor that's on it now. I am having a ridiculously hard time finding parts for this. I said, okay, I would like to get rid of the 4, but I'm not trying to turn this into some speed demon. This isn't a drag car. This is just a car that I want to be able to enjoy cruising around on the streets. It'll probably see very little highway time. I just want it to be enjoyable and fun and interesting. I can't find a 4-barrel intake for it. I can't find a dual quad intake for it. Finding a distributor for it was like pulling teeth. And this is truly what made me understand how, number one, rare this engine is, and number two, why this car will eventually end up in a scrapyard if we keep the motor in it. If and when I decide to sell this car, somebody's going to drive it, they're going to enjoy it. Something's going to go wrong, and that's when they're going to realize you can't find parts for this engine. You can't do it, not for a reasonable price, and at that point, someone's going to get tired of fighting with it, and it's going to end up going to a junker. I don't want to see that happen. It's a beautiful car. So, I want you guys that are interested, the ones of you that aren't pissed off and you want to see some interesting content, the plan currently is for Lunar Outlaw on YouTube to build an engine. He is actually currently picking up a 318 from a 1986 something or other. He is going to tear down the motor. He's going to send it to a machine shop, and he is going to build a motor. It's going to have, I think he called it a whiplash cam. It's supposed to have a pretty aggressive, I'd say mild, but for me it'll be an aggressive, you know, blip, 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 blip. That's my exhaust sound of a cammed 318. Anyway, he's going to break it in for me and everything, and he's going to be doing this on his channel. I'm going to have a link to his channel in the description and in the comment section below. He's a pretty new YouTuber. He has been doing YouTube for a while, but he's got 7,000 subscribers, and I would like to see him cross that 10,000 mile mark. This is going to be a lot of fun, I think, for him and me. He is going to build the motor. He is also going to be replacing the 727 Torque Flight. I hope I got it right this time. This Torque Flight in the Coronet is a cast iron Torque Flight. He's going to be replacing it with one of the newer 727s. At least that is the plan. We plan on pulling the engine, transmission, and putting in a fresh rebuilt engine and transmission into this car. In order to make this happen, it's going to require me to go to New York. Yes, he's in New York. So what this means is a lot of fun coming on the channel. This means we are going to have to take the Ram, go pick up the tandem axle trailer, put the 59 Coronet on it, and haul it all the way to New York. At which point there will be videos coming out from Lunar Outlaw and myself for you guys to enjoy of the process of tearing down the Coronet engine, transmission, and yes, I do intend to put headers on it. We intend to go with a 4-barrel carburetor. And this is all in the interest of keeping the car on the road long term. This is about serviceability. This is no longer about keeping it original, saving the old engine. There's no reason to. The old engine is not worth its weight at all. Like, absolutely not worth it to try to save that motor. Some of you may disagree. At the end of the day, it's my car, guys, and what I want to see a car that you can find parts for easily. I want to see a car that you can repair, keep maintained, and keep on the road cheaply and easily. It's not that kind of car right now. I don't want this car to end up in a crusher in the near future, so I'm going to do my best to make sure that we make it something cheap and easily serviceable and maintainable. And this is all thanks to Lunar Outlaw, because without him, obviously this wouldn't be happening. He's a great guy. He's got lots of great content on his channel. Boy, does he like his Mopars. He's got some great stuff on his channel. I highly recommend you go and at least check him out. And I really strongly recommend, if you want to see this Coronet come back to life with fresh components, man, a fresh powertrain, you need to go subscribe to his channel, Lunar Outlaw. Man, thank you. I appreciate it. This is a big help. I truly can't thank you enough. And for my subscribers, my people following this whole build here, please go subscribe, comment on one of his videos, and just let him know thank you. You're excited and you can't wait to see this happen. Now, we've wasted enough time talking. We're going to get the Coronet in the garage, and I'm going to make an attempt to get this motor running a little better. I figure it doesn't hurt anything. It's probably going to be at least a month or so before we can make this all work. Anyway, let's attempt to get the Coronet to where I can continue driving it. I do almost daily drive it around. I don't go far, but around. I would like to make it a little more reliable. And if I could get that misfire to go away, that would be great, but I don't think an oil change is going to do that. So let's get the Coronet in the garage. Let's see what we can get done today. But before we do that, how about a cold start of the Hellcat? Bye-bye, Hellcat. Jessica, you better be careful with my baby. Driving it like a grandma. All right, now that we got that out of the way, I think it's only appropriate to do a cold start of this too. We'll set the camera down behind it, and I'll fire it up. It hasn't been fired up today at all, so this will be a legitimate cold start. Let's see if it's smoking or anything when we first fire it up. All right, now that we got this beautiful car in the garage, we can start by popping the hood. Oh, Big Bertha. All right, I'll probably go ahead and disconnect the battery, even though the battery's not gonna hurt anything. I'll probably disconnect it anyway. Pull this filter slash oil cap off. I'll pull the dipstick out. I probably saved doing the hoses and everything. The hoses, I got all new hoses, I got new belts. I'll probably save all that. Maybe we can do that since we're pulling the engine out anyway. Probably do that once we get over to Lunar Outlaw's garage. I will go ahead and put a thermostat in this today though. I've had a lot of you tell me that this thing has got to have a thermostat, and I'm making a big mistake by leaving it out. So I'll go ahead and put a thermostat in it today. We'll take care of that. Change the oil filter, and let's see if we can get our new distributor plugged into this bad boy and gapped. And hopefully that will at least help it run a little bit better. But to begin with, we're gonna go ahead and start with pouring some motor flush into it and letting it run for like 10 or 15 minutes. And then we'll drain the oil, change the filter, and that should make it happy. God only knows how long this car's had this oil in the engine. So let's go ahead and get this flushed out. So we'll start with a trusty funnel. Go ahead and drop it down in here. I believe this funnel's clean enough. Come on now. Okay, you know what? How about let's forego the funnel altogether, and let's just dump this stuff right into the engine. There we go, just like that. That seems to be working out just fine. Just pour it in. We'll let her run for a while. And we'll drain the oil and see what she looks like. I have to get this thing up on the jack because I don't think the clearance is enough for me to just climb under there like it is on a truck. There we go. That is it. This is what I'm using right here. I don't remember where I got it from, probably from AutoZone, but use it for every oil change takes 5 minutes. We're gonna go ahead and let it do like 10 or 15, and we'll go ahead and drain it out, see what she looks like. I don't know if you can see how cloudy this is, guys, but boy, I'm telling you, she smokes when she warms up, man. She smokes. Now, when you're driving it down the road, it's not smoking. It's only when it's sitting here idling, it just blows smoke. So I've had this thing running probably for about 15-20 minutes now. So I'd say it's good to shut it off. It's definitely longer than they recommended you have it running. I don't know if you can hear that, guys. Listen to this. I almost hear a tapping. You know what I mean? Boy, look at this garage. Wow. Oh my goodness. I am currently dying of carbon monoxide poisoning and I had no idea. See if you can hear it from this side. I hear it. And it seems like a very subtle misfire to me. See, this side feels like it's running great, but look at this side. You see the carbon and stuff being blown out of it right here on the ground? This one is, listen to this. Do you hear the pup, 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 pup? Oh, and it's blowing like, it's blowing oil out on me, I think. I think we've got a problem with the valve seal, or we may have a completely destroyed ring, because it's literally blowing. I mean, it's black soot. It could also be carbon being blown out of the exhaust. Make sure that's in there. With a head gasket issue, it could be literally blowing water out of the exhaust, which is blowing some of the carbon out. Yeah, it's definitely on this side. This car has true duals. There's no H pipe, there's no X pipe. It's true duals. So the passenger side is definitely experiencing a problem. Go ahead and shut her down. I'm gonna let this cool off, and I'm gonna let this garage air out some. I'm gonna go inside and catch some fresh air. All right, guys, welcome to the dark side of the force here. We're gonna pull this out, try not to burn the living crap out of myself. Oh boy, getting oil everywhere. There we go. Yeah. I got oil all over the garage floor. Boy, that looks thin. That oil looks, and it feels thin. That doesn't even feel like oil, guys. How the hell is that even lubricating anything? That is disgusting. Well, I definitely made a mess all over the garage, so that'll be fun to clean up. But I mean, what's the point in having a garage if you ain't gonna get a little messy, right? Yeah, guys, I hate to say it, but this engine needs to come out. It does. Transmission too. I honestly believe this thing has 80-some thousand, 86,000 original miles on it. I really do. I really do. This engine looks. Ow! Shoot, that was hot. Engine looks rough, guys. Looks real rough. So just in case you wanted a little bit better of a visual of what the oil looked like that was in it, there's a pretty good idea. It's very thin. Very, very thin. And obviously very, very dark. I think I'm going to leave this engine with Lunar if he wants it, man. I do. I think I'm going to let him keep it. If he wants to rebuild it on his channel, I think that'd be something fun to watch if he decides that that's something he wants to do. But this engine has got to come out of this car, guys. In my opinion, the engine in this thing is worn out. Next, we need to check the gap on the points of this new distributor. It's easier to do it while it's out of the car. You simply turn this until the points reach their maximum opening, which will be right there. It's on one of these lobes right here. And these points, it's hard to see. They're teeny tiny, and you're not going to be able to see it. But anyway, this is a .018. This is supposed to be .17. I don't have a 17th. I got a 16th and an 18th. So this should be a little on the tight side when we stick it in there. And it is. Yeah, it drags just enough to feel like that's a little too tight. So that means this is probably already properly gapped at .017. Now, that means I can just install it, man. This is great. I've got a vacuum advance that I've got to install. And I'll be honest with you, I don't even know how to do that. I'm going to probably have to take the old distributor out to figure out exactly what this clips into. I'm sure that it goes in something like this. Yeah, so it goes in like that. I don't know what exactly it's supposed to connect to down in there. So I'm going to take that distributor out and look at it. I'm probably not going to set this to number 1 cylinder or anything. I'm probably just going to pull it out like this, guys. It's got this blade on the bottom, so it looks to me like it's only capable of going in 2 ways. It's going to be 90 out, or it's going to be, or I'm sorry, it's either going to be 180 out, or it's going to be right on the money. So as long as we put it back with the rotor facing the same direction it was before, like this, and the rotor bug pointing the right direction, everything should go back together fine. Let's get some things out of the way here and see what we're working with. So we got the distributor cap off, and I want to remember that the rotor is facing almost 100% that way to my 3 o'clock position. So we'll want to remember that the flat spot is facing my 12 o'clock position. So it will go on just like this. Take a look at this, the tip of this rotor bug. This is brand new. You can see it's kind of discolored. In fact, it's really discolored, isn't it? I don't know what that means, but I'm certain nothing in here is set up right. So I'm going to go ahead and pull this distributor out right now. You can see this janky wire that was hooked up to the coil. This is speaker wire. Okay, that's not the right way to do things, guys. I'm hoping when we put the new distributor in, it's going to help it run a lot better, but honestly, it probably won't. Don't you just love it when things refuse to go right? So I pulled the vacuum advance out of here, and now I see exactly how it goes. It goes on top of this clip. So these distributors look identical, thankfully. Thankfully, the distributor from here should work just fine to replace this one. That's a good thing, because this distributor is just all kinds of messed up. You can't see it, but the points are lopsided, man. And the gap on the points in this one, they are at 0.025 versus 0.017. So, like I said, everything about this was off. Plus, with the temporary wiring job that we had to do, we call it bubbifying, right? That's from the Corvette bin. But yeah, we had to kind of gobble this thing together just to get it running. Now it's going to be done right. It's got the right wires and the harness and everything coming out of, or only one wire. But the problem comes in to the vacuum advance. So this vacuum advance is the one that came out of the old distributor. It's frozen. It doesn't it doesn't move, guys. Bends but doesn't move. And then when you try to nothing. Now this vacuum advance right here, you can see it. See, this works. The problem is they're completely opposite from one another. This one, hold on, if we put these the same way, just like this. So if you put these exactly the same, you can see this one bends down and this one bends up. There's no way to make these work. So you don't need vacuum advance. It will run without it. I'm not quite sure how well it's going to run without vacuum advance, but there's not going to be vacuum advance. I'm going to have to probably order another part, or I might just say to hell with it, since we're replacing this whole engine anyway, and the transmission. Is it really necessary? I would just like to get it running good enough that we can take it out and actually drive it a little more reliably, because this thing has been, well, not reliable. It's left me on the side of the road more than a few times. So I'm going to get to stabbing this distributor back in. It's going to go about like that. Make sure everything goes back together properly, and hopefully when we're done, it'll run. All right, we got the new distributor in. Obviously, it's not going to be timed. Let me see if I can fit this in here in a way that's not going to spill it all over my garage floor, like I just did again. This is becoming... There's a pattern here, guys. All right, we'll start with Marvel Mystery Oil. We're placing 20%, so 1 quart out of 5. And then we'll go back with the oil. Got the filter on already. At that point, we can attempt to fire it up and hope to God something doesn't blow up or catch on fire. All right, moment of truth. We've made a big mess all over the garage. Check. Distributor is installed. Coils installed. Excuse me. Whew. All the wires are hooked up. And we got our points set as close as I'm going to be able to get them. What do you think? First try. Oh no, that is way off. Boy, you could hear that. She ain't happy. Ain't happy at all. So what do you think? Think we need to go? I think we need to go more this way with it. That was probably far too much, but it's a start. Let's try it again. There it goes. Wow. Good guess, huh? Wow. Real good guess. Don't get me wrong, timing is still way off. Oil pressure is slowly creeping up. She'll get there. And we can kind of play around with the distributor now while it's running and try to kind of hone her in. That sounds a lot better. That sounds a whole lot better. Oh, wow. Well, I'll tell you what, I've never been able to do that before. Normally, when you would hit the accelerator pedal, it would immediately choke out and die. So the fact that you can actually hit the gas now is I can't believe that. Okay. All right. Let's check the oil pressure. Oil pressure's doing all right. Well, guys, I'm gonna break out the timing light. I'm gonna see if we can't get the timing on point a little bit. And we'll come back. Maybe we can take this bad boy for a drive. All right, so I know there's no way in hell you'll ever be able to see it, but yeah, you can't see that. I have the timing set currently to 10 degrees, guys. 10 degrees before top dead center. And that should be a wrap on timing. Well, guys, we made a huge mess in the garage. I got to pull this car out to see how bad it is. I had to double gasket the thermostat because it was leaking. I'm telling you, guys. We also should probably check the valve lash on this. I'm going to bet money that the valve lash is severely off. I would bet money. That's reverse, right? Oh, there's a rock under the tire. That's right. That's right. Gotta move the rock. The rock is there just in case. You know what I mean? Just in case the e-brake decides. The e-brake's a little weak. The rear drums definitely need to be adjusted. Front ones probably do too. But she should start heating up nice fairly quickly here. You see the temperature gauge is already where it normally is. You want to go, Ace? Go take it for a spin? All right. He loves going, man. He loves going. And I love these lights right here. I got to get it out of the garage anyway. I got to see how big of a mess I made because I had oil spilled in here. Now we've got water mixed with it and the damn cat litter stuff mixed with it too. I made a hell of a mess in here this time. Now, thankfully, the brakes do work, guys, and they actually work really well. Because this driveway is a massive, massive incline, and I can hold myself and slow down just fine here. I see drips of water coming out of the car. Yeah. I'm thinking either it could be from the incline too. Ooh, is that a Hellcat over there? That's a Hellcat. All right. There's drive. Can we swing it without hitting the garbage cans? Barely. All right. Look how she takes off now. Now, don't get me wrong. It's running fairly well. It's definitely not 250 horsepower and 350 pound-feet of torque, like, at all. We're not even close to those numbers. But the fact of the matter is, you can take it out on the road. You can hit the gas, and she will go. And she stops, too. See, that temperature gauge is really creeping up now. Keep my eye on it. That's good. That means that the thermostat is doing its job. And the only reason I put a thermostat in this is because you guys told me to. Okay. Yeah, dead misfire, man. Dead miss. You can feel it vibrating in the car. But I mean, the speedometer works. Like, you can definitely get up to speed here, guys. You can give it gas and she'll take off. And when you approach a stoplight, she'll slow down and she'll stop. Watching that temperature gauge. The thermostat we put in it is a 180. Green light, here we go. Watch the speedometer. See, oh, she hesitated. She hesitated. Okay. All right, well, the carb isn't tuned. The valve lash isn't adjusted. So, I mean, we're not done with it yet, but I think it's enough that we can go cruising with it. Oh, there's a train there. Hell no. Hell no, we ain't doing a train, man. That means we're gonna have to turn somewhere. I think we may be able to turn here. I ain't doing a train. That's a stop train at that, man. Yeah, we can go down this way. Okay, so it's not hesitating now. It's not a torque monster, guys. It's not a powerhouse. For me, this car is nothing more than a cruiser. Just something to go down the street, have fun in. People can look at it and appreciate it the way I do. But with that said, like, she will move. If you give her a little, give her a little gas, that's floored. See what I mean? I mean, she will get it. Yeah, she's doing so much better. Guys, that new distributor and adjusting the points has made so much of a difference. And the fact that I know I'm not going to get stranded on the side of the road because of poor wiring to the distributor and the coil, that makes me feel a whole lot better. All right, guys, I think me and the kid are going to just cruise around for a while. We'll come back here in just a couple minutes and we'll see how she's doing. Guys, against my better judgment, we're going to take her on the interstate. Here we go. Merging. There's 60. We're at 60, Ace. 65. Wow.
70.
We're at 70? Wow. 70 miles an hour. Woo! Oh, man. Well, guys, I think I'm about to call this a wrap for this video. She runs, she drives, she made it on the highway barely at 70 miles an hour. I talked to Weird Beard, and I think the way we're going to adjust these valves temporarily, just to see if we can get it running on all 8 cylinders. I think it's running on 6, maybe 7. It's hard to tell. But you can hear a little bit of valve chatter, as you heard earlier in the video. And Weird Beard said an easy way to adjust the valves, well, adjust in air quotes, is to fire it up with one cover off at a time. While it's running, find the valves that are making noise and tighten them down slowly until they stop chattering, and then lock the lock nut down. And then do the same thing on the opposite side. And at that point, you should have, granted it's not properly adjusted, but the valves will be somewhat adjusted. Probably put some fuel system cleaner into the gas tank as well. I've got a mess in the garage you probably can't see, but I've got literally, thankfully all that's in this engine is water, but it's everywhere. But for the first time ever, the air cleaner assembly is back on it. It's installed. The air cleaner assembly went right back on like it's supposed to. It's holding good pressure on the cooling system. For how long, I don't know. I'm still skeptical that it's going to pop 1, 2, or 3 freeze plugs out because some of them do not look healthy. Like I said, guys, there's a lot of reasons for ditching the motor in this. I was about to walk inside to the inside of the car, and then it's like, I just want to say one more time to those of you that are pissed off, mad, and upset that I'm changing out the engine and the transmission. I apologize to you. I apologize that you're upset about my choice, but at the end of the day, this motor's tired, guys. You know, sure, maybe somebody could rebuild it or partly rebuild it, or maybe it could be brought back to life. But I really think long term, this is the best solution for the car. This isn't a Barrett Jackson car. You know what I mean? I would like to just see it with something that runs great, that's reliable, that's fresh, that's going to be easy to maintain and easy to work on, and cheap for parts as well. Now, before we get out of here, I am going to fire it up one more time for you guys. But before we get out of here, Lunar Outlaw himself wants to introduce himself and say a couple things. So, Lunar, have at it.
What's up, everyone? I'm Brian from Lunar Outlaw's Garage, and the other day, Randy reached out to me wondering if I'd be interested in putting together a 318 for that Coronet. And that thing is so mean, I had a few questions just to see where we're going with it, because that it really looks like it's ready to just jump through the monitor and drag you back down to, well, like the other car's name, the Hellcat. You know where I'm going with that. Anyways, so I said absolutely. Now, he wanted something that would be aggressive, but still be able to perform as a cruiser. And I said, I actually have the perfect cam for that. This was originally actually going to go into a later model, and still older than the car I'm working on now, but this is a gorgeous kit for a 318. It's, I would say, on the mild side if you're going for a track, but for a cruiser, she's going to be lopey and she's going to have some power. And full kit, we're talking lifters, springs, some great springs. So this thing will be awesome for his project. Now, if you're wondering what kind of 318 I'm working on now, this is actually going in a 1972 Plymouth Satellite. And the thing is a rat rod. And this thing really does showcase that mentality. If you look at the paint, it's actually not brown, but a speckle pattern between red and black. And you can actually see she kind of decays, kind of like, I don't want to say a zombie, but, you know, like that rotten kind of sensation. This thing is actually sporting a 340 crank, so we can still get a little bit of oomph from the bottom end. And they're solid steel, great cranks. This is actually running a Performer intake manifold, similar to what we're going to go ahead and put on his. If we take this great looking Holley air cleaner off, we actually have this is a thermoquad off of a 440. This is a big boy. We'll go ahead and set him aside. You can see that to increase the plenum volume, we've actually separated or have taken out. I did a video on how you would go ahead and take this out. On his, we are not going to put a spacer. We're going to go ahead and leave it just as the Performer's designed. We're kind of looking more of a, not really a track, but kind of a track engine out of this thing. In fact, this will eventually go back up to Nick's garage and be re-dynoed at some point fairly soon. And I'll be honest with you, this thing is absolutely just gnarly looking. We're going to actually use this paint scheme on the car, not over the entire thing. It's going to be flat black with accents of this. You'll see when it's all put together. I think it will come out really, really awesome. But we'll do the same kind of idea. Headers, intake. We'll go with a 660 CFM. We'll probably go with a Holley for his. The Edelbrocks are nice. I'm not saying they're not, but the Performer intakes are definitely always my go-to if I'm putting something together. And actually, if we look underneath here, this is, I love the Edelbrocks, and I'll show you in a second. This is a set of rec port heads that are going on that 6.0 LS. And that, its official home is right here. This is just a mock-up block I have with a set of junk heads. But this is so that I can get all the geometry right for the upgraded frame. And, well, it's going to be a 6.0 twin turbo LS going inside my 1971 Buick GS with a Toyota Supra transmission, believe it or not, and a Chrysler rear end. So there's a lot that still needs to be done with this 3/4 rear end. It's not something you can just buy. No one really builds anything for this rear end on a body. So we'll be doing a lot of modifications to that rear end. And if we go outside, we can actually take a look at the three main projects currently. And that is actually the 71 Buick GS, like I was just saying. That's currently on hold, waiting on parts, but we'll be picking that up pretty shortly. We're pretty close to complete on the satellite right here. It's kind of dark out, but... And over there, we actually have a Dodge Ram where we're going to put his engine in there to break it in. You know, do the whole cam break in, break the whole engine in. But this is the rat rod right here. We pulled this out of, I mean... This is rough. We have a frame rail replacement in here, torsion bar cross member. This whole car from pretty much inside is totally new. New suspension. You know, this was pretty rough. Well, guys, I hope you enjoyed the tour. I know I'm really excited about working on Randy's engine, and I know that it's going to be a more traditional Mopar orange, not the rat rod design we have behind me. And this engine should be going in the satellite within about the next 2 weeks, and it takes time to get an engine pulled out of salvage yard. So about the time this goes in the satellite, we should be putting his engine on this stand. Then we have to break it down, bring the actual heads, the crank, and the block down to a machine shop where they'll go ahead and they'll clean it all out. Now, as far as different types of intake, you know, we'll go ahead, order those all up, the exhaust manifolds. This thing's going to be absolutely sweet. So I've taken up enough of your time. I'm really excited. Remember, guys, keep your shiny side up. And until the next time, take care.
And with that, ladies and gentlemen, it's 1 o'clock in the morning. I'm going to take this car out on one more drive. I'll fire it up one more time for you real quick, and then we're going to get out of here. And I know a lot of people think I don't do anything but pay other people to work on my cars. But believe it or not, I actually do work. I know nobody believes me, but... Oh. Okay. Well, she fired right up. Fired right up. And those beautiful dash lights, right? Oil pressure's rocking, man. Oil pressure's good, temperature's good, fuel is good. One more time, I want you guys to hear that chatter under here. Yeah, you hear it. I hear it too. Look at this car, man. Tell me this is not, you know what? This isn't doing it any justice. We gotta close this. All right, here we go. All right, now. Look at this car. She's a thing of beauty, guys. I never thought I would find true love in a car, but I have. Don't get me wrong. I love my other cars, man. The Hellcat especially is a blast. But this car right here, this is true love. It's not smoking so bad anymore either. Look at that. Before, when it was sitting at an idle, it would just bellow smoke. Interesting. Yeah, I think getting it up to speed and cruising around it, we've actually put some miles on it today, guys, because before it would leave you stranded on the side of the road at the drop of a hat. And it seems to be a lot more reliable now. So, oh, that is gonna, I love the way those doors close, man. That is going to be a wrap for this video, guys. Big shout out again and thank you to Lunar Outlaw. Man, please, guys, he is really, really helping us out over here at AAR. So please, begging you, go over to his channel, subscribe, tell him thank you on one of his videos, man. Just let him know how much we over here at AAR appreciate the work he's putting in and the work he's about to put in when I bring this thing up here. We're bound to run into problems, guys. That's the thing. We're bound to, this is not going to go smoothly. Okay, I know you think you're just going to drop everything in. Okay, it could happen, but let's be real, it ain't gonna go down that way, guys. There's gonna be lots of problems. There's probably gonna be lots of fabricating. And I think I think Brian, I think you got your work cut out for you, man. Anyway, we are going to get out of here, guys, and I hope you enjoyed today's video. Hope you enjoyed the content. If you did, please consider hitting that thumbs up button. Subscribe to the channel if you're not currently subscribed, because you want to talk about content. We're hooking this up to the trailer, dragging it with the Ram 2500. We just got back from Washington State, and now we're taking it all the way to New York. The truck's going to have been one side of the country all the way to the other. We're putting some heavy miles on it, and this bad boy right here is about to get a breath of new life breathed into her, man. It's really exciting. So thank you again to Lunar Outlaw. Go follow, subscribe to him as well. Thank you to all of you for watching. Follow me on Facebook and Instagram, Auto Auction Rebuilds. And until next time, stay safe out there, buddy. I will catch you all very soon in the next one.